You're live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi. Ooh.
Hi.
You're watching Basically Complicated. Okay, so the topic that I wanted to talk through was if you could pick one day in history to go back to, what day in history would you go back to, and what would you... Mercy.
Mercy is right.
A day.
A fool.
A full day.
And what would you be doing? So, like, the who, what, when, where, why of it all.
Oh, clarifying question.
Yes.
So when I go to this day, am I just like...
You're in
I'm
it.
physically there.
Yeah, I think you
so
could be...
if I die, am I dead? Or do I just come back to this day?
I don't know. Why does it matter?
It's not about death.
Well, yeah, why
it matters
do you
where
have
I
to know?
go. Some places I go would be dangerous.
Yes.
If you die, you die
If you
in
die,
that
you're
day.
dead.
But then the
So I
next
come
morning,
back.
you're going to come back as a Mark in
As a man.
2019. I don't get it. This isn't real.
I'm going to... It's not... I'm going to say yes, you die.
Okay.
And the disclaimer, though, is that you can't impact history, right?
So, like,
Yes.
hypothetically, if I go
Right.
to see Abraham Lincoln for a day,
Right.
he's not actually, like, interacting with me. I don't get to ask him
Oh, I
anything.
was thinking the opposite.
No,
Well,
that's
but,
what I was thinking. You
change
said
the course
that.
of history. Like, he couldn't stop him from getting
Yeah,
shot.
I don't want to, like... I'm not going to change
Wow, I
history,
didn't even
but
think
like,
about...
I
Yeah,
would,
it's not changing
Yeah.
something.
Like,
It's
you
just
could
witnessing
talk
it.
to someone, but you could talk to someone.
Right.
You just can't change the
Oh,
course
wow,
of
you
history.
guys are really running with
Yeah,
this
this
one.
is time travel is an important thing to talk about. There's very specific ideas.
I just wanted you to pick a day and go see someone's house.
I was like, why is Mark asking such specific questions? Like, if I die and I'm
we're
here.
all
I
having the
didn't-
same question.
Yeah, all of you. And I'm like, we're just going somewhere for a day.
Can't you just have fun for once?
You can do whatever. You can change the course of history if you want,
No,
I think.
that's
Really?
too-
I
no.
don't think you
No,
can.
that's
I
not a
don't
part of the
think you can.
agreement. No.
Why the
You
frick
did
not?
not ask. You said witness. The words
I said
were
frick.
witness.
Okay, I
Said frick.
I want you to be interacting with people. That's how I
That's
was
fine.
envisioning it.
Yeah.
You just don't change anything.
Well, how do you know your conversation didn't change something?
You don't know, but it's just.
Okay, okay.
I just want to have fun.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, so you can pick any day. It's a 24-hour period.
Yep.
You can interact with people. You can't change history. If you
Correct.
die, you just come back. to
Just
this.
hypothetically, it also
Hypocritically, if you die.
It's basically like Adventures in Odyssey when they go into the imagination station.
And the 4 members of our audience that know what Adventures in Odyssey is,
There's probably more than 4, and I think we all know that.
that's true. There's going to be like 80
But
likes
I
on this
don't remember
video.
the Adventure Station. I was
It's the Imagination
Imagination.
Station. Someone never listened to Adventures in Odyssey, am I right?
Then,
John Avery Whitaker, huh? Eugene Meltzner,
Yeah.
Was this? I'm thinking.
Rodney Rathbone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hated it. You guys just kept laughing louder and louder, and I was like, oh.
And you kept getting
Do you-
smaller and smaller.
I
remember
did.
Digger, Digger, Dig Willow?
No.
Digger, Dig Willow. Digger, Dick Willow. It's a...
I don't remember that.
They'll get it.
Okay.
Is this McGee and Me, or is this something totally
I
different?
did like McGee and Me, although I didn't remember McGee and Me at all, actually. I don't actually know any idea what McGee and Me
I did like it, but it meant nothing to me.
Wasn't it the one, the cartoon that came out?
Precisely.
Anyway, so a day in history.
Yes.
I would go back to witness my own dang self in the crowd of the I Have a Dream speech. I would love to see that in person. That's why I was like, I have an
exact
event.
same thing.
Really.
Yes.
I would want to witness it, and I would want to feel the energy, and I would want to
Wow.
like hear him, like see him do it. Like if I could be somewhat close, that'd be great. But like I would love to see him
cool.
speak because we never got a chance to.
Yeah.
And I think that would be unbelievable to actually be in that crowd and to hear all that stuff and
Right.
the most famous speech almost in history.
Yeah.
That, or I would want to go back and witness Abraham Lincoln's famous speech 7 years ago.
Gettysburg Address.
The Gettysburg Address. I would think, like, I would just want to, like, witness, like,
Yeah.
something so incredible. Especially because I think,
We have too
That's-
many similar interests.
of course, especially because I think speech giving is becoming a lost art. And that makes me very, very sad because, like, a lot of the, like, there's so much change that came from one person
Yeah.
saying thoughtful words,
just
and
speaking.
that's and the concept of using thoughtful words is completely getting thrown out the window lately in our society. So I'd want to go back and just be like, this is what it was like for someone that knows how to speak, because that was all that you really could use to communicate. You can't text that or whatever, and just because now no one cares.
Right.
I feel like I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion. Last episode, but I think people are terrible at it, and I miss a good speech. A good I miss people who are engaging to watch, because that's not normal anymore.
Yeah.
And I'd want to learn. I just want to learn how to want to be that. It's like people who I would love to even go back and witness someone writing like a famous document, watching people what is it called, the big beautiful writing calligraphy. I would love to just sit there and watch someone do it, because I write things and it looks like I'm actually trying to chisel it on paper, because it's just this it looks horrible. But watching someone that knows how to do it and does it beautifully, I would be so fascinated by it, because I'm like, how do you even know how to do this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's a famous calligrapher. I don't think there is, but a cartoonist.
Probably.
I'm sure someone knows, but I would love to watch those things in person.
That's very cool. And yours were the exact same?
So mine are the exact same thing if I can die. So if I couldn't die, if I'm just going to just witness events, I would go to right after the D-Day storming of the beaches and just see all of these allied nations coming onto those shores, and the planning process that goes through that. I think that would be amazing. Or in the Revolutionary War, there's just so many key battles where Alexander Hamilton and George Washington and Nathaniel Greene are having these super in-depth and strategic conversations, and I would love to be there and just witness that, because I think those are such cool moments.
So the strategy meetings.
Yeah, I don't want to see I don't need to see the battles. I don't. That's
because
not.
I feel like the day after would be hard to look at.
Yeah.
You just want to be in the little tent tucked away.
Yeah, I just want to be with the general.
Yeah.
But those are obviously very dangerous times. So if I'm gonna die, which it would be very likely in that scenario, because I'm not a soldier, I wouldn't do well in either of those scenarios. I would go to something that's if you had to boil it down to a 24-hour period, where leading up to Dr. King's speech or leading up to Abraham Lincoln's speech, the prep that goes into that and the conversations that they
That's
have
fair.
would be
That'd be
oh,
cool.
that'd be so cool to see how those speeches were shaped just in the 24 hours. Because I would have to go back and read it, but the story of Abraham Lincoln writing that speech was he was writing it on the train to Gettysburg. So the train ride there, he was still
Yeah.
finishing what he was writing.
Because he could do that fast. Because it was a battle, and it was a tragedy.
Right.
And,
Don't you guys feel like you're getting smarter by the minute? Keep going.
yeah. But so he had to literally just get on the train and go to the place and give the speech the next few days or whatever. Which
And I just think especially having the opportunity to interact with those people, getting to talk with a mind Martin Luther King or Abraham Lincoln or George Washington would be that'd be amazing to be able to do that. Especially that'd be so cool.
I do think George Washington, specifically, he had so much just before him that was unprecedented. I just wonder what his mind was thinking. I hadn't thought of that one, but
yeah. Because you would have to imagine that these people would be ridiculously smart and
right.
how much pressure and weight, and
But also their human aspects. I would love to see what was he like.
Well, that's the cool. If you go back and read books on George Washington, he was notoriously bad at making decisions. He was a horrible decision maker under pressure, and so we kept losing battles because he wouldn't make up his mind about what to do next. So we kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back until eventually people convinced him to start doing the crossing of the Delaware, I think is that famous painting where George Washington, people are crossing on boats in in the icy river. That was a hugely decisive moment because the British weren't expecting it, and so we finally did something that gained a little bit of ground, and we just kept building on that momentum. So I would love to be there during that conversation of these generals speaking into George Washington, please can we please do something. Oh, it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
You could be a general. In my mind, when I laid this topic out, you could pick a character of who you were in that moment.
You could play it. You could play that role.
Yeah.
That would be
So then you wouldn't die, and you would
intense.
just it's like you're supposed to be there. I don't think a white person would be on stage with Martin Luther, but maybe.
I have to go back and see the footage.
Maybe in history.
Another cool moment in history that I think would be really cool, because again, it's like one of those things that united
really
a lot of
cool?
people.
I think I heard it was.
It was
cool.
pretty cool.
He doesn't like it.
Why?
We
I'm
gang
sorry,
up
your
on
words
him.
are more important than mine are.
I'm glad you acknowledged.
Right.
I would love to go back and like watch TV with people when the first rocket went to space in America.
Yeah, that would be
Because
cool.
like everyone in the nation was watching it on TV, and like to have that moment is like, for the people that I knew that watched it, it was like locked into their memory, and I was like, oh, that'd be so cool.
That would
Like,
be cool.
I remember growing up, like we would like turn on the TV and there would be like a spaceship coming back from space, and it was like nothing, and I was like, this is amazing! Like we sent that person to space, and they were like, yeah, we do that every month. And I was like, well, that sucks.
Right. No, the first moment it would be a really big deal.
Yeah.
Did you know, I learned this fact, this is a horrible rabbit trail, and I'm going to talk about it. Did you know that people used to dream, you would dream in color, but then when the TV started coming out in like moving pictures, and they were in black and white, and people started dreaming in black and white.
Really?
And then when the TV went back to color, they started dreaming in color again. I was
Really?
like,
Fascinating.
no, that's not true. And I looked it up. That's actually a thing. That a lot of reports say that 80% of people used to dream in black and white until color TV came.
That's crazy.
And
That
they
is
went back
crazy.
to what it was. I was like, TV is so influential, and that's terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
I had
So
no
like,
idea.
will we start dreaming in like virtual reality or like hallucinations?
Maybe. I don't know. Because
Isn't that what dreams are?
that happened.
No, but like have them more. I don't know. Like
it's like more lucid.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's terrifying to think
Dang,
about.
I would be one of the first ones to have one of those crazy
Right.
freaking lucid dreams. Like I
Right.
started doing.
I never sleepwalk a day in my life until virtual reality came along. And then all of a sudden I'm driving cars and
Yeah.
yeah. It's something interesting anyway. So TV,
Yeah, that's
agreed,
fascinating.
is very influential.
That's fascinating.
Rabbit trail.
Okay, so I went a different way with this, and I was thinking about it, and I was like,
No
okay,
way.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
again.
Yahweh is the way.
I think that there were moments in history that appealed to me. That Mark, this is my time. I'm just kidding.
I'm laughing at my dumb
I
joke.
know. I'm just joking.
Yahweh is the way.
Did you say that? I didn't even hear it.
Yeah.
It was prepping in my mind.
Oh, because they said no way. Yes, way.
Woo.
Continue, please.
You went a
yes.
different way.
Yeah. So at first I was like, the flappers era seemed intriguing to me just because like, I don't know, like the women that were like coming into their own and like they were breaking the rules a little bit and rebellious. I don't know, like that just
So
seemed
you would be in
interesting.
the Great Gatsby.
But that's not what I chose. So what I chose was this. Okay, so it's gonna get sentimental, but my grandma was like the most influential person in my life, and I was like, it would be so cool to go back and see her like in the 50s, I think. So maybe like she was born in 32. So why are you smiling? He's like, isn't this
no, you're gonna hate
gender?
me for it. I just
Say
I thought of Yahweh. I went back.
I was like, I hear you, and it's fine, but
You're
this is
gonna. Dang it! We shouldn't sit across from each other because
no,
I'm gonna
it's
sit there and think of things
great.
funny.
It's great.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yahweh's the way.
I mean, he is the way.
He sure is.
Okay, grandma.
Yeah, Grandma Jenny. This is her time.
Grandma. Yep.
It is my Grandma Jenny. Anyways, I want to like be in her kitchen. So she lived in that house for many, many years, and I want to like. I think the part that I want to see the most is I know that she was like a supporter of her friends. Like I know her sister went through things that like she supported her through and her friends or whatever. And like I want to see my grandma in those elements of like, okay, I'm a Christian woman and I'm like supporting these other like believers, and as a mother too, I think that would be cool. But I was like, I just want to
Like
see her
when she was younger.
Yeah. And like my grandma was like the most loving person ever, but my mom talks about her as being like, she was feisty, like she had a little fire in her. And I want to see that aspect of her because I didn't see that much
Yeah.
when I was, you know, a little one. So like
Yeah.
50s or 60s, I'm in my grandma's kitchen and I just want to like talk to her as a young, and she was a young woman. Maybe my age. Maybe 30-year-old Beth talks to 30-year-old Jenny.
It actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Because like what wisdom would you have to share, you know? Like I just feel like it would be cool to like see her
Yeah.
in her element.
I feel like if I could interact like with history, if it was you can interact to change something or do something, I would go to myself when I was 14. That's exactly what I would do for a number of different reasons, but just I would want to go back to myself and be like, listen. Let me break it down for you, kid. Yeah, I would want to, even just nowadays, I would do that and talk about all the things. Not necessarily warn, it would just be more like, I don't know. I don't know what it would be. A lot of different thoughts would come in my head if I ever got that opportunity. Which
Like, what's like one of the biggest things you would want to tell your 14-year-old self?
I would. Oh, I don't. Stop it. It would be a lot about like confidence and like almost like hey, like you'll get through this. Like, you just gotta keep going forward and keep like spending time with like people that you know actually care about you and keep fighting, slugger.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. It would be
same.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot more in depth, than that. But like,
Sure.
Yeah, it would be a lot more of like you just got to keep fighting through this.
Yeah. I think I would have done something similar, actually. Like, 14-year-old Beth was like, you have to fit in and do all the cool stuff. And I just wish I would have been like, no, honey, like be
look at me.
quirky. And, like, you'll be just fine. And I didn't learn that until later, but I think I wish I would have known, like, it's okay to be a dork. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
What would you have said?
Yeah, asking me all these questions. Coming at me.
Said to my younger self?
Yeah. What age would you choose, first of all? With mine is 14.
Going into middle school, and like it's okay to be different. Kind of similar to like it's okay to be quirky or be you, but just like it's okay to be different. So plus like a ton of other things, but
Yeah. That like makes me weird and nostalgic.
Yeah.
I know.
Like,
I think
what do I do with my life now?
Is like it's okay to be different, and like what people think of you shouldn't define like who you are, how you act, and because a lot of those people aren't even in your like they're not in my life anymore.
Yeah, that's one of the things I would do too. Is these people weren't as great as you thought they were.
No.
Were you thinking of Yahweh again?
No, is this gonna be too personal? I had stuffed my bra in like 5th grade, and I was gonna say like, quit stuffing your bra. Like I did it like for funsies.
Yes.
But still, I wanted to be like, honey, you're 10 or 11. Like quit.
Yeah. I would say things like that too, though, being like, sweetheart, listen.
You don't need to do this.
Stop.
Or I would have been like, it's fine. Like, you'll see, though.
You'll get through it.
I think I would go back to probably like 14 or 15-year-old Mark. And I think the biggest life lesson for me that I wish I could have taught myself when I was younger would be like, I wish I would have learned to listen when I was younger. Because I spent so much of like my high school years and my college years just like projecting and not really like taking in the people around me. Like I would take in a lot of information and just kind of like spew that. And I wish I would have learned earlier on, like, you can just listen. Like, shut up and just listen. Yeah. Like I wish I would have learned that a long time ago.
Yeah.
This feels heartwarming. This conversation.
This feels look like you brought us. Julie, what day in history would you go back to?
So this is my short disclaimer because it is your answer prompted this. Yeah. So when my mom was born, my grandfather and my grandmother, who I respect very, very much, my grandfather was a doctor on a Zuni Indian reservation in New Mexico. And so he was doing like either a residency or a placement there, and it was partly like missions work, but that's where he was placed. And so my grandmother like gave birth to my mom when they were on the reservation. Cool. And so she was like the only white baby on the reservation, but like my grandmother raised her, you know, my aunt was born there too, so you know she would have been like on the backboards as they were doing the gardens and all, like I just think that's so cool. First of all, I think my grandparent, like I respect my grandparents so much, and I just wish I wish I knew more of their story, and I think that's something I need to really maximize right now, and like see if, you know, collect pictures and while I still can, like share really like try to find journals or things with them, but just like they're such incredible people, so I want to like know more of their story.
Yeah.
But also just to be able to witness, like, I think my grandpa's hilarious, and just seeing like their interactions, but to see him
Yeah.
like
When they were young.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or young and
50
in
years
love.
ago, and, yeah.
My grandparents, like, they were so in love. My mom talks about them, like, they just couldn't keep their hands off of each other. And my grandma was like, your grandpa would come home on the lunch hour, and he'd want, like, he would wrap his arms around me, and she would be like, Jack, I'm making you lunch. But I was like, I want to see, yeah, sorry, we went there. Mark, don't act like it's that dicey.
Okay.
Was it dicey?
No.
Okay. Anyways, I want
Just be you.
yeah, I know, 14-year-old Beth is 30-year-old Beth, but I want to see that love. Like, I want to see that
Yeah.
in their young years.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting to me is that I had a grandma, two of mine died before I was born. My grandpa died when I was when I was like 8 years old, maybe even a bit younger. And then my grandma just kind of wasn't in our lives, so I literally didn't think about anything with my grandparents in the slightest, and I don't know if that's healthy or not, but like, that's not an interest of mine. I don't know.
That
It's
makes
just
sense
funny.
if you didn't know them.
Yeah,
Very well.
it was just, I guess I do wonder what our family history was like, but I don't feel like it was that interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
We were boring people. My great-grandparents, I came from Hungary.
Yeah.
Hungary.
I think there are like benefits to so many of the different things we've talked about.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Mhm, yep.
Anyways,
Oh gosh, I feel that was a lot of emotion.
That took a lot of
Yeah.
twists and turns.
That it did.
so
Thanks for watching.
thanks for watching. Yeah.
And where would you go?
Tell us in the
Who
comments.
would you be
Seeing with
around
or near?
Or by.
or above
Or beneath.
or beneath? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks.
Adios.
Bye.
Deuces.